Okay, today we're going to be continuing in meeting management with parliamentary procedure, and particularly with the proper use of motions. We did some of this last time, figuring out what motion is in order at which particular time. We're going to continue with that today. And very shortly I'm going to ask for a main motion because, as you know, the main motion needs to be on the floor before anything else is in order. Now, it could be a resolution, it could be a restoratory motion, but for our purposes today we'll stick with a plain vanilla main motion. Ginger, our TV assistant, is up here as well. Most of you met her at the face-to-face meetings, but if you're a channel surfer and haven't figured out who this other person is, she is the instructional assistant for this course. And because well, just because, we won't go into the because, I've asked her to randomly pick motions up here, and we're going to find out, you're going to play two roles out there as the studio audience, and you home viewers be checking as we go. One, when she hands me a block, I need to know if the motion is in order. If it's in order, then we want someone to be creative and make that kind of motion and get it on the floor. Okay, but first of all, we need a main motion. We're getting a lot of static. Am I doing that? I don't think so. I don't know. We may have aliens in the studio. I don't know. Okay.
I move we shorten the amount of words to be used in our final exam.
Okay, is there the motion is that the number of words in the take-home final exam, I assume you mean the exam for this class, that the final take-home exam in SPCM 4397 be shortened. Is there a second to that motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to shorten the final exam by reducing the number of words. And I'm making some little notes here so I remember where we are. Okay, Ginger, if you would hand me the block of your choice. Okay, what did she pick? Postpone indefinitely. Is this motion in order right now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, would someone like to move that motion? Okay, they're shaking their heads no. Tell me why you don't want this motion on the floor.
Because it would defeat the goal.
Are you holding down your microphone? Okay.
It would defeat the goal, which is a very just cause goal, to shorten the length of that final exam.
Okay, the maker of the main motion does not want this motion even on the floor because if adopted, it would send this motion out the window to outer space or kill it completely. So, okay, we'll just set it over there. They didn't like that one. A motion to amend. Is this in order? Okay, they're all shaking their heads yes, yes. The motion to amend is in order. Is there any way that you would like to amend, that you could amend, now whether you like to or not? How could you amend the main motion?
Could you reduce the number?
Go ahead, Maria.
Could you reduce the number of words and say you want to reduce the number of questions?
Okay, you could amend it by saying shorten the final exam by reducing the number of words and then adding and the number of questions. You could also amend it by specifying how you want the number of words shortened, because shortened could be by 5 words or it could be by 1,000. So, okay, the floor is open for discussion of the main motion, and an amendment would be in order. Hang on a minute. Okay, Mr. Easton. You can't second it because it's not on the, I'll hold it up here, it's pending. Well, it's not even pending, it's in order, but it hasn't been made. This just happens to be the block she pulled. Does anybody want to make an amendment?
Okay. Can we, strike shorten exam and add eliminate questions 6 and 7?
Well, those two don't go
that's
together. You're doing things in two places. You're taking a word out here and you're adding a phrase to delete two questions.
So by amending it, I'd just be getting more specific then, because he said that the original motion was to shorten the exam, right?
Number of words.
Yeah, the main motion pending is to shorten the final exam by reducing the number of words. And if you delete shorten, then you have I move the final exam by reducing the number of words and whatever else you said, which didn't make sense. So the amendment needs to say exactly what you will take out or put in, but the sentence needs to make sense when you get through. Now there's something else that's in order here that we don't have a block for, which is a motion to substitute. If there is something you would rather do instead of shortening the number of words, like, well, no, there is no amendment right now. She just asked a question. Or did you make no? Yeah, she was asking what would be in order. What motion was that, or what did she use when she asked me that? No, it wasn't a point of order. We didn't make an error.
Point of information?
Okay, that was a point of information. And because there was no trouble getting recognized at that point, she was just able to seek recognition and ask her question. But if someone had had the floor or whatever, then point of information would have cut in to the general discussion. Okay, a substitute motion would let you do something totally different. And I don't know whether you want to do anything totally different. But if you were requesting, for example, a 50 written multiple choice, not take home, or even take, but something totally different from the intent of this, then it would have the status of an amendment, but it would be a substitute motion. So it is possible to do that. Mr. Easton.
To get it accepted, is it the procedure would be then I move to accept her amendment, or do we just let that sucker sit up there?
There is no amendment.
Now let's just assume with me for a moment she had made, okay, I'm going to move to accept her amendment. I made the main motion. Is that out of order?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, well, one, you don't move to accept someone else's amendment. Let's pretend that's the amendment for the moment. Okay, she moved, or someone moved, this ghost sitting up here, moved to add the words and the number of questions. And that was seconded by somebody over on this side. So now we have an amendment pending. Now you could say, as the maker of the motion, you could say this, I'm in agreement with this, and I would be willing to accept this as part of the original motion. And if you were to say that, then as presiding officer, I would say, is there any objection to adding those words to the original motion?
So it would come from you then. You would say, as the presiding officer, you say, is there any objection to acceptance of this amendment? I like her amendment, by the way, so ask.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, okay. Is there objection in the assembly to? Is there objection in the assembly? Are you leaving, Mr. Maker? Oh, you're moving forward. Trouble with the microphone. Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure what all those little hand signals
I forgot what the amendment was.
Okay, the amendment is to say, the main motion says shorten the final exam by reducing the number of words. The amendment says and the number of questions.
I move we accept her amendment.
Okay, that statement is inappropriate language. Okay, but no, what you would be saying simply is, I am in favor of that. There's nothing to move. You move motions. You would simply say, I want to speak in favor of that amendment. I like it a lot, or whatever. Yes.
That's
All part of the discussion of the motion, right? And
Right.
anybody could say that. It wouldn't necessarily have to be the person who made the motion. And
Right.
and even so, it would really be
And it's just
irrelevant.
discussion.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Now, but if he wants to incorporate it into his motion, which he's saying he does, that's often labeled a friendly amendment. And if it seems to have consensus, is there any, and I'm going to ask you as a group, so you need to answer, is there any objection to incorporating this amendment into the main motion?
No.
Okay, hearing no objection then, we will incorporate the amendment into the main motion, so you now have an amended main motion which reads, it's been moved, and I would say it's been moved and seconded then to shorten the final exam by reducing the number of words and the number of questions. Okay, the floor is now open for additional business. Ginger's going to pull something here. What do we get? An object to consideration. Is this motion in order?
Point of order.
Okay, we have a point of order handy there. Okay, we'll just slap that puppy on here too. Okay, a point of order has been raised. State your point of order, please.
The motion is not proper. The objection to the consideration of the question at this time.
Okay, why is it not in order?
We haven't debated. We haven't done anything with it. To get an objection to the consideration based on the standards you taught us, you're going to need 2/3 of the vote. We haven't done anything. We haven't passed anything.
Whoa.
Majority.
No, you're mixing apples and oranges here.
I do that.
For this to be adopted, it would take a 2/3 vote. The question is this in order? Should I even put it to a vote?
the objection to the
Consideration?
Right, is that where we are?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've raised, that's the point of order. Okay, the point of order is sitting here. Is the motion object to consideration in order at this time? Yes or no? Not what vote. You're right, it takes a 2/3 vote, but is it in order or not?
Is the main motion the original motion that we were talking about?
The motion on the floor is the amended main motion that you amended by general consent.
We used to do it like I told you. Yeah, I could kill it with that one, but based on what you've told us in the
Okay,
past
yeah,
couple
but
of
we
days.
pointed out in Roberts
Yeah.
that somebody was in error, so.
Yeah. So I'm going
let's-
along your standards. Normally I would
Thank
say, hey,
you. We're-
phew.
Okay, we're in compliance with 93% of the country.
Because it's I'm going to say because it's an incidental motion, it is in order, by definition of incidental motion, being that it can.
Okay, by definition, excuse me, of an incidental motion, it could have been in order. It's not in order right now. And the question is, why is it not in order right now?
Is it because that usually comes out when you don't agree with the main motion and everybody here does agree with it?
No, I don't know whether you agree with my gut instinct is you do, but you haven't voted yet. Yeah, Stephanie.
Is it not in order because the motion is still in debate?
Right. It has to be made either when the motion is made or when the second is made, but once debate starts on the motion, that's water under the bridge. What? Oh, no, it's her job to do strange things up here today. Fix the time to adjourn. Is this motion in order?
Point of order. No.
His point of order is no. Michael, you want to comment?
I believe it is. It's a, what's the term? It's a privileged motion, so it's one of the highest ranking ones. You can use it anytime, basically.
Okay, your point is well taken. Yours is not. This will teach you to miss a class. Okay, they practiced this last time. Takes a while to get all this rolling, though, doesn't it? Okay, this is the privileged motion. Remember, in that rank of 13, this is the highest one. Okay, so.
But without using that highest ranking motion, is there another way she could have dive bombed it? Since I did miss the other class and it went on.
Wait, dive bomb what? We haven't bombed anything.
Well, if you fix the time to adjourn, are you not asking to not consider it anymore? The motion that's been made?
What does this motion do?
It allows, it just, what it says, it
Fixes the time to which to adjourn.
That you're gonna leave, and whenever you decide on that, then the original motion is back on.
Okay, make one. pretend you would come
We
back.
adjourn in 1 hour.
No, now that's a different motion. That's adjourn at a future time. We haven't really gotten to that one, but we might as well get there today. There's plain old adjourn. There's adjourn sine die, S-I-N-E-D-I-E, which means without a day to meet again. If you adjourn sine die, which we'll do the last class of the semester, unless we fix a time to meet again, we'll adjourn sine die and that'll be it and we're all gone. Okay. Adjourn at a future time is the one you just made that says I move that we adjourn at 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. or no later than 10 o'clock tonight. And that says right now we know how much time we're going to have left. Okay? Classes, university classes have preset times to adjourn. But that's adjourn at a future time. Okay, now fix the time to which to adjourn. Sharon.
I move that we adjourn and reconvene at our next meeting next Monday.
Okay, that's almost it, except fix the time has to be sooner than the next regularly scheduled time. Otherwise, there's no point in making the motion because we would know when we were coming back anyway. Give them one more crack. We're almost there.
I move that we adjourn and reconvene tomorrow at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay, that motion is correctly phrased, is in order at this time. And the motion...
consideration of the question.
Where's object to consideration? Okay, there's an objection called. Anybody want to raise a point of order? Hand it to me. I'm waiting. This motion is not in order. Who's going to tell me why? Why is object to consideration not in order? Stephanie?
Is this motion still in debate?
Okay, the motion on the floor, well, we should have had a second. We haven't gotten a second yet there either. But that's not the problem. The timing is right, but there's something else that's wrong. What does object to consideration apply to?
It applies to the main motion. Not
Right. Good answer, Maria. Okay, we'll get this guy trained in. Okay, object to consideration only applies to main motions. So somebody should have made that point of order. And it's out of order because it was applied to a privileged motion rather than to a main motion. Okay. Is there a motion to fix the time to which to adjourn, to fix the time to 6 p.m. tomorrow? Is there, I don't know what I said, is there a second to that? Thank you. I'll get the language out here. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to fix the time to 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Previous question.
Okay, you didn't get recognized.
Dr. Hunt, I'm still not sure I understand fixed time to adjourn.
Point of
what the
information.
difference between deciding to adjourn and reconvene, I think it was tomorrow at 6, what the difference between saying that and saying I move that we adjourn an hour from now.
If this one is adopted, we adjourn right now, but we come back at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Adjourn at a future time, adjourn an hour from now, says we're going to keep meeting for an hour, but then we'll adjourn and we won't come back until the next class meeting. Do you hear the difference? Okay.
Point of information.
Yes.
So the fixed time to adjourn terminates our meeting today and
Right.
resumes when we have fixed the time.
Well, it doesn't necessarily terminate this meeting. You would still need a motion to adjourn. It just fixes a time. I phrased that slightly wrong. It fixes a time before the next regularly scheduled meeting. So we know we have another meeting to keep going with this. Usually, either adjourn is on the floor or as soon as this one comes off, a motion to adjourn is made. So I was responding out of habit rather than total textbook. Yes, Rod?
Setting a future time, or if I guess future time to adjourn, is that also a privileged motion? Or
Yes. The top 5
So
are privileged.
okay, so the future time would just be considered part of adjourn then also.
Say that last part again.
Adjourning, setting time to adjourn at a future time would just be considered adjourn, or of one of the five privileges.
Right. Well, adjourn at a future time is an incidental main motion. It would be colored green. If we had one up here, we didn't do a block like that. And one other confusing piece of trivia, if the motion to adjourn, just plain old I move we adjourn, if that's made when there is nothing else on the floor, it has the status of a main motion. And so it would be debatable. People almost never debate it, but you could talk about it and say, you know, well, I don't know, we got some other agenda items here that we ought to cover, if you do. Okay, there's the point of information back. All right, this is fix the time. The motion on the floor is to fix the time to which to adjourn to 6 p.m. tomorrow. All those in favor of this motion say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Okay, the ayes have it, and if he wants a recount. Give me the correct language.
Reconsider.
No.
I move to divide the assembly.
Okay, then the best language is I call for a division of the assembly. Reconsider is a restoratory motion, bring something back. Okay, there's been a call for a division of the assembly. All those in favor of fixing the time to which to adjourn to 6 p.m. tomorrow, say, let me have a show of hands, please. 4, 5, 6. Those opposed? Okay, 1. Whole body. Okay, so that one was adopted, and if we were a real group in real session, you all can come back tomorrow night at 6 if you want to. Okay, what are we down to now? Okay, that was fix the time. You just adopted that one. So we're back to a main motion on the floor. Do you need to hear it, or do you remember what it is?
We should know what it is. It's
Okay.
a very beneficial, very good motion. We should pass this thing.
Okay, what do we got now? A call for the orders of the day. Is this motion in order?
That should have
I
been
hear
done
one no.
Should have been done at the beginning of the meeting.
I'll say it's in order.
Y'all are just squaring off real well back there today, aren't you?
It's one of the 5 privileges.
Okay, it's a privileged motion. It's in order if there's any reason for it. So from a ranking standpoint, it's in order at this time. When is this motion used?
You've been sidetracked.
Okay.
He's gone.
Okay, if we were off the agenda, then it would be appropriate to make it. So it's in order, but I don't think we're off the agenda. So if there was anything to call for to get us back, you know, if we were discussing our poodle dogs or something, then it would fit. From a ranking standpoint, yes, but we weren't really off the agenda. So if someone were making it, they would need to be able to say, I call for the orders of the day. We're supposed to be discussing this motion. Okay, here's a refer to committee. Is this in order?
Yes.
Yes, it's in order. Okay, somebody make one? Even if you're not going to vote for it in a minute, put one on the floor.
I move that we refer this motion to a committee consisting of 5 members.
5 members of the class. Okay. Okay, is there a second to the motion to refer the main motion to a committee of 5 class members? Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Is a point of order in order?
Maybe you need to figure out how the students are going to be elected, or how they're going to be chosen to be on the committee.
Okay, that's a possibility.
Yeah, but what committee is he forming a committee that's part of the standing committees, the executive committees? Which committee does he want to refer this to?
I don't know. Where's point of information? Okay, point of order is not really in order right now because there's not been an infraction of parliamentary rules. But what you are raising is our points of information, because you're saying this motion is not completely clear to me. See an amendment there. So it might be appropriate at this point to amend it, to clarify where the committee's coming from. Somebody want to make an amendment?
I think it was already clarified by, when we stated that it was going to be, or he stated that it was going to be 5 students from the class.
Okay, it'd be 5 people from the class. Do you want volunteers? Do you want them elected?
Nominations, I guess.
Or do you want them, how can you get members of a committee?
Nominate.
You can elect them. They can be appointed by the chair.
Volunteer.
And they can volunteer. I guess you could draw straws too. So how, and this would, to answer your question, Michael, this would be an ad hoc or special committee because we don't have any bylaws, and because we don't have any bylaws, but we may soon, we don't have any bylaws, we don't have any standing committees. So this is an ad hoc, A-D-H-O-C, ad hoc or special committee. And how would you like to get them, Waleed?
Volunteers.
Volunteers. Okay. The motion, the immediately pending motion, all of these are pending. Let me jog my memory on what we've got here. Okay. The immediately pending motion is the motion to amend, refer to committee, to insert volunteers. Is there a second to the amendment?
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion of the amendment? Whatever you're in the mood for. No discussion? Okay. Is a question of privilege in order right now? What kind of motion is this? Subsidiary, incidental, main?
Isn't it a privilege motion?
Mm-hmm.
So you could make it anytime you
Right.
want to?
Well, not any time, but it's in order here. Yeah, if fix the time is up there on top, or recess or adjourn, it won't bump in front of those. Okay, anybody want to raise a question of privilege?
Question of, Madam Chairman, question of privilege. I smell smoke or something. That would be.
As in fire or as in
like
cigarette smoke?
Like it's in fire. Like maybe we should, break the meeting and check it out.
Okay, that's a novel one. Okay, the question of privilege has been raised. The chair will ask the security guard at the back door to check and with the hotel and notify us if we are in fact on fire. And and if what?
There's no windows or anything in this room.
Right, right, right. And I was in a hotel in Cincinnati one time when we were in an internal ballroom and the smoke started coming in the vents. And, well, actually the alarm went off about 30 seconds before the smoke infiltrated the events, and we're going, is this for real or not? And then somebody said, there's white stuff coming through the vents over here, and we decided walking down 2 flights might be expedient. And as it turned out, they had a welder working on some stuff upstairs, and he ignited something, and it got in the building wasn't fully on fire, but there was a small fire that generated enough smoke to infiltrate the system, but it got our attention. Okay, so this is in order at this time. It's a question of privilege, and that request was granted. Oh, you're getting lined up over here. Okay, lay on the table. Is this in order? Yes. Yeah, not your body parts on the table, just the motion. It applies to the body, not the assembly. I mean, it applies to the main motion, not the body of the. That's okay. I'm going to talk to you about some bylaws in a little while. I've been working on a group's bylaws, and they're enough to make you cross-eyed. Okay. Is this in order? What did you tell me? Okay, it is in order. Somebody want to move it? Okay, I heard this person over here say, I move to lay this motion on the table. Okay, is this debatable? No. No.
He needs a second.
I heard a second, too. It's been moved and seconded to table it. Okay, but before I put it to a vote, somebody stands off, and we got all these people in here that are making crazy motions. Somebody stood up and moved to limit debate to 2 minutes per speaker.
Point of order that's not in order?
Point of order. Whoops, that's appeal. I got Ginger confused. Point of order. Okay, you're saying this is not in order?
Correct.
You want to tell us why it's not in order?
Because it's ranking lower on the scale,
Okay.
I guess.
Your point is well taken. It's a lower ranking motion, so it's not in order at this time. Okay, the motion to, got something else, Andy? Is an appeal, yeah, she doesn't know what she's handing me. Is an appeal in order? No, I haven't made any rulings. That if you hadn't liked my response to the question of privilege a while ago, you could have responded to that. Is a recess in order? Why?
Higher ranking, it's a privileged motion.
Okay, it's higher ranking, it's a privileged motion. Anybody want to move to recess? Okay, I heard a motion to recess, but I'm not hearing a second.
Second the motion.
It is seconded. Okay, let's see, this was a motion to recess for 20 seconds to confer with your code delegate or whatever. Okay, is this debatable? No. Is it amendable? Yes. Anybody want to amend it?
I would like to amend it to 25 seconds.
Okay, there's a motion to strike.
No time to cross the floor and get back.
That's right. A motion to strike 20 and insert 25. Can it be further amended?
I second the motion.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that point was well taken. Can we amend it again? Anybody want to? Michael?
We strike 25 and insert 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll put a little tag on this one. Okay, there's a secondary amendment on there to strike 25 and insert 30. Can it be further amended? Not with the motion to amend, but what did we talk about last time? I move to create a blank. Okay, we won't bog down that in today because we did that last time. But you could have a whole bunch of amends stuck in there. If you had to create a blank, then you could get a whole bunch of things. But that's not likely to happen with the motion to recess. Okay, all of those in favor of striking 25 seconds and inserting 30, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Okay, the ayes have it, and you call for it right.
Point of order.
Point of order. State your point of order.
The request was not properly worded.
Move to divide the assembly.
Okay, I call for a division. Okay, good.
I'd like to call for the orders of the day.
Object to the consideration of his question.
Now what?
Say it again. Touchdown.
There's something wrong here.
Of course there is.
What's the point of order?
It's not a main motion.
Okay, is this the object to consideration? Okay, point of order is well taken. Object to consideration is out of order because this is not a main motion. Is call for the orders of the day in order? Give me that point of order back again. Why is call for the orders of the day not in order?
privileged motions.
It is
and
privileged.
It is higher ranking than amend. And
What's pending, though?
division of assembly.
Wrong. Well,
It was the thing I called for. He called for the call of the order of the day behind me.
right. Okay, the division of the assembly is incidental. So we'll get back to it shortly and take care of it as it arises. Why is this not in order?
Is it because recess is the because recess is a main motion?
Recess is not a main motion,
It's
but
a privileged
recess is a privileged motion and it's pending.
Right.
Good
That's
answer.
what I meant to say.
Okay, so there's your point of order back. The call for the orders of the day was not in order because it's of lower rank than recess. So now that we got that settled, we're back to division of, isn't this fun? Okay, I think this is great fun. You know, I could do this all after. I will do this all Sunday morning. I'm going to work with the group. Okay, so we've got division of the assembly, an incidental motion popped up as needed. Okay, and the question is on the amendment to strike 30 and insert 20, to strike 30 seconds and insert 25
No,
seconds.
yours was 25. It was 20 first, and then he moved it to 25.
Okay, did the 25 seconds carry?
Yeah, that's what.
Then it was moved to 30, I believe.
30
And that's what we're voting on.
Right, I think you just voted on striking 30 and inserting 25. Yeah, this is still up. You're on the secondary. I'm right. Okay, this is where a good secretary is very handy because, or a parliamentarian who's sitting there writing all of this down. You go, which one are we on? Which one are we on?
The assembly.
Okay. You know, and your parliamentarian or secretary can very discreetly sit there and point to where you are. Okay, the division of the assembly, we're taking the vote over again then on the secondary amendment to strike 30 and insert, to strike 25 and insert 30 seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. It doesn't matter, because sometimes you change your mind. The chair was uncertain. Let me see those in favor again, please. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, those opposed? 1. Okay, you have removed 25 and inserted 30. The secondary, okay, and the division of the assembly is taken care of. Okay, now the pending amendment is that it? Yeah, okay, is to strike 20 and insert 30. Is there discussion of that amendment? Oh, we can't discuss it. This is on the motion to recess. Oops. Okay. Those in favor of striking 20 and inserting 20 seconds and inserting 30 seconds, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay, one left. Okay, the affirmative prevails. The amendment is adopted. Okay, you're now voting on the motion to recess as amended, which is to recess for 30 seconds. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Okay, you're going to blow the ears away of the people on. Okay, so this motion is adopted, and a 30-second recess is in order. So we're recessed for 30 seconds. Our 30 seconds is up, and we're reconvened. Okay, now that we're reconvened, what do we have? Refer to, no, we have a lay on the table pending. Is a point of order in order? No, there's been no parliamentary infraction. If you get notion to pull something else, what do you got? Okay, as I'm about to put this to a vote, someone gets recognized and moves to a certain time.
Saturday, 6 p.m. in the year 2000 of the 50th day of the millennium. See you then.
Is this motion in order?
Information.
A point of information. Please state your point of information.
Does postpone to a certain time act in the same way as postpone indefinitely? Does it rank?
It's the same as postpone definitely, not indefinitely. Certain time and definitely mean the same
Rank
thing.
in the same order, or is that below?
It's the same thing. Definitely and certain time are the same thing. Like previous question and vote immediately are the same thing. It's just interchangeable jargon. Is that what you're asking me?
Well, actually, between indefinitely and definitely. Or was there?
Okay, it is not the same motion as postpone indefinitely.
Which ranks higher?
You tell me.
I don't have it down.
Okay, I don't have my tinted pages. It's on the first of your tinted pages if you're looking there. Waleed's got his.
Postpone to a certain time is
Ranks higher than indefinitely. Indefinitely is right down there beside the main motion. Right, as you're making them. So if indefinitely can only be made before there's an amendment. If there's an amendment or anything else made, indefinitely is out of order. But the question right now is postponed definitely or to a certain time in order?
I would think that's out of order. I think lay on the table requires us to vote at that time.
Okay, lay on the table is not debatable.
Right.
So we're ready to move to a vote on it.
Right.
But we could make
you
recess. We could make recess. We could make adjourn. There are other things we can do with lay on the table pending. So the question is this one of the things we can do?
To postpone to a certain time, I don't believe so.
Okay. You're right. Do you know why you're right? Okay, it's lower ranking.
Point of order.
State
Chair
your
did
point.
not recognize my distinguished colleague behind me.
Couldn't see her seeking recognition. Was her hand in the air? Did she stand and address the chair? No. Okay. You have to make yourself visible or heard. Which one did I hand you? The point. Okay, so postpone to a certain time. And we decide this is out of order because it's lower in rank than lay on the table. Okay, all in favor of, now if we lay, what is it we're talking about laying on the table? The assembly, the amendment, the refer to committee? What would go to the table if this is adopted? I hear one vote for committee. You might be right.
Second that. One more vote.
That's
for
because y'all
committee.
stick together like glue. Sharon, what are you thinking?
To be honest, I can't remember the last motion that was made. I believe it was the committee, because we were talking about the committee, how they were going to be appointed, elected.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that was said is he decided on volunteers.
Okay, and so if you put this on the table, no, we didn't put it on the table. Which one's pending? Lay on the table is pending. If this is adopted, what's going to happen?
Refer
Could
to
you
committee
be
again.
more articulate?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are in danger of losing the main motion, which was to drastically reduce the length of this take-home test, people, which she may just grant.
So you're saying if this is adopted, what is going to the table? The motion to refer?
Yeah. In other words, if it goes to committee.
Only the motion to committee will be put on the table? I'm asking you, if you vote for this motion, what's going to happen? Do you know what you're voting for if you vote for this? Stephanie flat out doesn't know. She's shaking her head no. That's why we're talking about it. If you vote for this motion, what will happen? Mike?
I believe, and I could be wrong, that we're going to go and take this motion and refer it to committee, which the main motion was, with the amendment attached, to reduce.
No, don't go back into the content.
Well, you
yet.
know what the content of the motion is. I say that if we vote on this, his motion to refer it over to a committee is going to fly. And that means it's in danger of never coming back in time.
No, not necessarily.
I'm glad I'm wrong
Okay,
then.
Maria's seeking recognition this time.
That means that it takes the whole thing and puts it aside.
Right.
The main motion above.
Right. If you vote for lay on the table, the whole thing goes to the table and the floor is open for a new main motion. Okay, you're not just, you have to understand that all of those subsidiary motions apply to the main motion. They're subsidiary to the main motion. But you cannot table a subsidiary motion. You can't table limit debate. You can't table refer to committee unless it's made as a main motion. Sometimes when there's nothing on the floor, someone will say, I move that we create a special task force to do thus and so and raise $100,000 for us by the 1st of January. And we get into a discussion of that and decide it's so complicated that it's a nice idea but it won't fly or whatever, that somebody moves to table that. But in that case, the refer to the committee has the status of a main motion. But when refer to committee is being applied to a main motion, then it's a subsidiary motion, and that's what it usually is. Okay, given that information so that you now know what you're voting on, those in favor, and this is not debatable, even though we've been doing all these other things, we haven't actually been debating whether or not this should be done. Those in favor of laying the main motion on the table say aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the whole thing is laid on the table. Is that where you...
Machiavelli says you get what you deserve.
So, okay, the floor is open for additional business. Now, it may be somebody has a counter proposal, and that instead of doing a substitute motion...
That's what debate was all about. I mean, they made all these motions and laid it off to the side, didn't get anybody else's opinion, just killed the darn thing.
Madam Chairman, I move that we abolish athletics at the University of Houston.
To the consideration of such an
Okay, where's object? Okay, the main motion is to abolish athletics at the University of Houston.
The objection was made before.
No, okay, I heard the objection first. So this motion is in order. Is there a second to the motion objecting to consideration? Okay, hearing none, there is no support. There's one person in support of that motion. Is there a second to the motion to abolish athletics?
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. The floor is open for discussion.
Who's going to pay for the athletic programs if your amendment should pass, sir?
It's not an amendment, it's a main motion.
well,
There won't be any
motion
athletics if it passes.
Okay.
You know, who's gonna generate the revenues that TV and athletics generate for this institution that gives you classrooms such as the one you are sitting in, sir? If your motion should pass and the athletics are abolished, which happens to be a big revenue maker for this institution. I'm sure you have some sort of fiscal.
This is just a friendly classroom exercise.
It is, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm sure you have some sort of fiscal.
I should have brought the
alternative.
gavel. Okay, the chair will direct the members of the assembly to direct your remarks through the chair,
Okay.
to be recognized by the chair before you speak. Ginger pulled the motion limit debate. Is this motion in order?
In the middle of the debate?
In the middle of debate, is this motion in order?
Sure.
It is. Does anybody want to make it?
I move that we limit debate to 30 seconds per speaker for a total of 15 minutes.
I second.
Okay, we have two issues here. I just call that to your attention in case you need to separate them. Okay, the motion is to limit debate to 30 seconds per speaker for a total of 15 minutes. Did I hear a second? Okay. Is there any discussion of this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Okay, then the limit on debate is in force, and someone will have to help watch the clock. Is there further discussion on the motion? Is this motion in order?
Has been voted on.
Because he didn't, the chair didn't make a decision on something.
Okay, you're right. So this is an incidental motion. It applies to a ruling of the chair. It's not in order because there was no ruling of the chair. Is this motion in order?
Yes.
Anybody want to make one?
I'd like to strike abolish athletics and insert abolish football.
Okay, no, okay, you want to strike athletics and insert football. Okay, that's in order. Is there a second? Oh, okay, that's been seconded. Moved and seconded, so the amendment pending is to strike athletics, insert football. Any discussion? Michael?
The chair asked brother number 2 how he would, again, make up the revenue shortfall if his motion was to pass.
That's under 30 seconds.
That's right.
Who's going to football games? Who's paying tickets?
He's got to her. Point of order.
Yeah,
Where's the revenue coming from? As I recall, we're not getting any money from football.
Okay, let me remind you, under Roberts, you have 2 turns each. Okay, your second speech
The
coming
revenue being generated by TV revenues. If the university's program is broadcast, no matter how miserably poor we do, we still rake in television revenues. If you abolish the football program and we don't get on television, means we don't get some of the bucks. So my question again is still on the table. Do you have a fiscal alternative to the shortfall of revenue if you were to abolish football from this institution? Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to increase tuition.
Point of order.
State your point of
He was
order.
out of order.
Okay, thank you. The chair recognizes Stephanie.
General question. When you're asking the questions back
Point
and
of
forth,
information.
you don't need to say point of information?
You don't have to. You can just do it in the context of discussion. But if someone were doing 10 minutes of debate or even 5 minutes and you were trying to cut in, point of information will interrupt, but it needs to be a very concise and brief point.
It needs to be valid and recognized by the chair. If not, it's just a way of disrupting another member's role. And it's been used like that before. I never got an answer to my question, by the way, Madam Chair.
Of which one?
The gentleman who made this motion to abolish football.
Oh, he doesn't have to answer it.
Well, I'm asking you, would you ask him for me then? I know he doesn't have to, but it is permissible.
Okay, well, he's used up his turns on debate right now. So right now the chair is looking to see if there's anyone else in the assembly who wishes to address the motion. But when you phrase, while you're thinking whether you have anything to say, when you phrase questions like that, sometimes they're intended to be answered, sometimes they're what we call rhetorical questions. They're just questions for thought that you want the whole assembly to think about.
Well, by the time we get around to voting, should I run out of time, I want that thought to remain in the back of everyone's mind before they vote. One way or another, I don't care if they give $36 million to the athletic program, but we got to look at it from the, I mean, it's a joke in between us and the way we're doing this, but when he says, let's raise tuitions,
Okay, and that's raising tuition is a separate answer. I mean, separate issue.
Order.
Yes.
I believe a distinguished colleague has used up his debate time already.
You're right, and I was taking that as a class comment.
Oh, okay.
But then it went over, yeah, there's the point of order. It sort of went over the line there at the last part of that. So had he continued, that point of order would have been very much in order. Where are we? Refer to committee. Okay, nobody has, okay, the question was, is refer to committee in order? Okay. Yes, it is. It could be made, doesn't have to be made. His previous question in order. Okay, does anybody want to make that?
I move we lay this thing on the table.
Oh, that's a motion to table, okay. Is there a second to the motion to table? Hearing none.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make another amendment, if I could.
Okay, you'd like to amend the amendment. How?
repeat the
Okay, the main motion was to abolish athletics. The amendment is to strike athletics and insert football. And an amendment to the amendment is in order.
Okay, I would like to strike football and insert football and golf.
Okay, you'd like to amend it then by adding the words
Right.
and golf.
Right.
Let's wake up the assembly. I want to make an amendment. Let's take our women's volleyball while we're at it. We don't need girls running around shooting volleyballs in the air.
I think we all know what that is.
Okay. A tertiary amendment is not in order at the present time. Okay, anybody want to move the previous question? Or do you want to debate the amendment?
A second for the amendment.
Oh, did we not get one? Okay, is there a second to the amendment to add and golf?
I second that.
Okay, second. Okay, the immediately.
Previous question.
Previous question, is that this one? Okay. Previous question has been moved. Is there a second to the previous question?
I second that.
Okay, it's been seconded. Is it debatable?
Folks.
Is it amendable?
Vote, folks.
Okay, you're out of order, Mr. Easton. Okay, the motion before you is,
Question. I'd like to raise a question of privilege, Your Honor.
okay,
I'm
Your
really-
Honor. I like this
Madam
one.
Chairman.
Madam Chairman. Question from.
I'm really hungry. I'd like to go get something to eat.
Point of order.
The chair will excuse you if you wish to go find food. But I would point out to the member that this is a personal request rather than one that affects the group as a whole and is really not appropriately made at this time. Okay, the motion before the assembly is on adopting the previous question. All those in, and what will happen if you vote for this?
Debate.
Okay, we'll close debate. You'll vote immediately. All in favor of ordering the previous question, say aye. Those opposed, say no. Okay, the ayes have it. The previous question is ordered. You are now voting immediately on the amendment to add the words and golf. All those in favor of adding the words and golf to football, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, the ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted.
Consistent, though.
Discussion is now open on the amended amendment, which reads football and golf. So the proposal is to amend the main motion by, which says abolish athletics, by striking athletics and inserting football and golf. Further discussion.
I'd like to move to the previous question.
Okay, is there a second to previous question?
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to order the previous question. All those in favor of ordering the previous question, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The previous question is ordered. All in favor of amending the main motion by striking athletics and inserting football and golf, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Nay. Okay, the ayes have it. The amendment is adopted, and you now have an amended main motion pending. Pay attention to the jargon. An amended main motion pending, which reads to abolish football and golf.
Call for a division of the question.
Yes. It's on the back.
Right there.
Okay. Okay, there's been a request for a division of the question. The chair is going to deny this request on the grounds that you could have voted against it earlier when it was pending as...
I want to appeal.
Figured somebody would. Okay, is appeal in order? Yeah, okay, because I'm denying the request. Okay. Because this is on an incidental motion that's not debatable, I'm going to rule that the appeal, well, no, I guess the appeal is still debatable. Okay, anybody want to comment on the appeal? Had to think about that one for a minute. Do you, at this time, you would comment on whether or not you think the question should be divided or not?
Anybody in the assembly?
Right, anybody out there, you get one turn each if you want it. You would just reinforce, Stephanie, why you think the question should be divided. So you're disagreeing with my ruling and giving your reason why you want it divided. Does that make sense? Not quite.
Just because someone was slow on the trigger doesn't make you an absolute dictator. If she wants to divide the question, I'll give her the right to do it by appealing. Now she has her opportunity to come on with it and tell her why you want the question divided.
Okay. And in this case, because of the nature of the motion, it's kind of obvious you want to vote on the parts separately, that you're in favor of one part, not in favor of the other part.
So as a member of the assembly, I guess I would say in the appeal that I agree with the chair that it should have been voted upon earlier.
Okay. Let's, we're getting a little bit short on time, so.
Shoot me again, so you get there. Get ready to lose another one.
Okay, I want to move you through this so we can do something else. Okay, those who are in favor of the appeal, okay, I'm saying that wrong. Those who sustain the opinion of the chair, say aye, which is not to split it. Okay, those opposed, which is to split it, say aye.
Nay.
Okay, I think the decision of the chair was not sustained, and so the appeal was upheld, and we will divide the question. Now, this is one of the few times that you have two motions on the table at almost the same time. Because once we split it in half, you have a main motion to abolish football, a main motion to abolish golf. Okay? So let's go ahead and put this to a vote. We could either close it out formally, but I want to move you along. Okay, those in favor of abolishing football, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
Hookah, no, no.
Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion to abolish football is adopted. Those in favor of abolishing golf, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Chair is uncertain, so the chair is going to ask for a division of the assembly. Those in favor of abolishing golf, please raise your hand. 3, 4. Those opposed? 3, with 1 abstention. So the motion carries, and abolishing golf, the motion to abolish golf is adopted as well. Okay, we'll get all this out. Okay. I was going to make one comment. Some of you know I've been reviewing bylaws for a group that's in town. Those bylaws showed up in their revised draft form recently with 23 articles to them. And do you remember from your exam how many are typically there? Okay, 12 or 13, yeah. And sometimes you get up to 15 or 18 if it's a very complicated national organization and so forth. They had quorum sitting in an article by itself. They had their registered agent sitting in an article by itself. They had no distinction between the general membership and the board of directors. They alluded to members but never defined how they would exist. And if you had those members defined, they had no powers. In the revised form, we're working on this and getting some changes together. But I'm just telling you the kinds of things that sometimes happen with bylaws. Okay? In the proposed revision, there was a proposal for the board of directors to be the ones who could amend the bylaws. And very, very seldom is that power appropriately given to a board. It should be the parent body, the total membership, that does that kind of amending. So just to let you know that there are strange things in the air. Okay, not to have forgotten the original issue of the final exam, here's where I am. Now, if some of you want to negotiate with me separately, or please, I'll get this in focus here. Okay, I'm going to read through this with you. The top part says, pay attention, this is important. Changes in the length of the final exam questions. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in on it a little more. I decided the answers were too long.
Decided correct.
Okay, so let's read through this. There's only one that I changed the wording of the question to shorten it a little bit. The first question that involved the role of the professional meeting planner, I shortened that to 1,000 to 1,500. I don't remember what they were before, but you'll know when you look. Number 2, the responsibilities of a presiding officer is shortened, I think, by 500 words. Number 3, which involves your internship proposal, that one is shortened to 500 to 1,000. The set of minutes is cut back. The set of bylaws, 800 to 1,000. It'll take you a while just to get the regular stuff out there. Okay, number 6, I changed the wording of the question to eliminate some of what you have to do there. So let's go through number 6. Number 6 says find at least 3 motions in Robert's Rules of Order newly revised which you think should be eliminated and explain why. And it'll take you 500, 750. If you need more space to do that, some of these questions I haven't used before. And then the last one on the audit committee, I cut that one back to 500 to 1,000. So we'll leave that up for a few minutes and make sure you have plenty of time to take notes off of that. Some of these questions I haven't used before, and so I'm not sure how long it's going to take people to answer them. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to work on that, and I'm going to scramble some motions up here. Adequate notes made? Good. Okay. You home viewers can roll this backwards if you need to in order to get things. Okay, I have up here the 13 ranking motions. Somebody want to be brave and come unscramble them? Okay, so from out there, tell me. Which one of these would have to be made first? And Ginger, you can help me find them. Okay. Okay, the main motion. Which one would have to be made next?
Postpone indefinitely.
Yeah, this is working. This is much easier than my flipping. Then what?
Refer to committee. She said limit debate.
Which one's in order next?
She said limit debate.
Limit debate.
lay on the table. Question of privilege. Adjourn.
Now, could you have all of that pending at the same time? Sure, you could. Well, maybe this is a 4-hour meeting. You know, we've got that motion down there to abolish something, and we move to postpone it indefinitely. Then there's a motion to amend. Now, you need to realize that amend applies to the main motion, not to postpone indefinitely. You can have an amendment to the amendment. You can have the motion to refer to committee, which sends the whole deal to committee. And you can have a motion to amend, referral to committee. You can amend that amendment. Okay, somebody says postpone it to a certain time. You know, is that amendable? Yeah. So we could slap an amendment on here. I didn't bring enough Post-it notes today. Someone moves to limit debate. Is that amendable? Sure. We could have another amendment up here. Somebody calls for the previous question. Is that amendable? No. No. We're tottering a little here today. Okay. Lay on the table. Is that debatable? No. Is that amendable? No. No. What kind of vote does it need?
Majority vote.
Majority. Okay. What about previous question?
2/3.
2/3. Okay, that cuts off the right of the minority to be heard for sure. Lay on the table, it'll come back up sometime. Okay. Call for the orders of the day. What vote?
Majority.
Okay. No vote.
That's it.
That's
Once it's
Vote, that's it.
yeah, that's just saying we need to get back on the agenda. Okay, question of privilege, amendable?
No.
No. Debatable?
No, that's why it's called a privilege.
Okay, recess,
Amendable and debatable.
Amendable, not debatable.
amendable, limited, you're both half right. It's amendable. To what extent is it debatable?
Time.
The time of the recess, but not whether or not we should recess. So you could amend it. Okay, adjourn. Is that debatable?
We'll move, we adjourn in exactly 1 minute.
You think so?
Yeah, your timing is excellent.
Okay, adjourn is not debatable unless it's down here with the status of the main motion. Okay, what about fix the time? Is that debatable? Whoops. Is it amendable?
Yes.
How is it amendable?
fix what time?
Okay, as to the time. Right, and then if you're presiding, you just start peeling them off in reverse order. Work your way down. Okay, we'll do some more of this next time. Practice those ranking motions.